grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, because this is going to be a long one, but we're going to explore half square triangles and half square rectangles and the difference between the two. Remember, we're on a journey, so no quill today, but kind of an interesting tutorial nonetheless. So for a half square triangle, which is super duper duper versatile, I've got two triangles right now that are cut to 4 inches. I'm just going to flip one over so that I can see the back of it. There are a bunch of different ways to make a half square triangle, but I'm just going to do this one here. I'm going to draw a diagonal line from corner to corner, tip to tip. You can use any pen, really. You could use a ballpoint pen because you won't see this. And I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch from either side. Actually, I'm going to sew just a little bit shy of a 1/4 inch on either side of this line. I'm going to put this right sides together. And we will get 2 half square triangles. Okay, so now that I have sewn on either side of that line, I am just going to grab my rotary cutter here and chop it off tip to tip. And there we go. And now I'm going to press these open. People, which side do you... I am going to press to the dark side, which means I'm going to put the darkest one up facing me, and then I'm going to roll it back and press it. Okay, so we have the dark side up. I'm just going to open this up and just feel kind of where the seam is. I'm doing a light, gentle smoothing out here because you can distort these very easily. And now I'm just going to hit it with the iron. Just press it. Just hit it right on the half square triangle. That's one, and we'll do the other. Okay, they're both been pressed. Where the dark seam is going that way, you really need to follow the pattern because that does not always work out to your benefit. But for this, no big deal. So we have 2 identical half square triangles right now. I am going to use block lock. I like block lock. It makes trimming easier. Everybody has their favorite half square trimming tool. I've seen the one that you just take off the tips. Everybody has their own thing. I prefer block lock. I think you get a really nice accurate seam with it. It works for me. So let's figure out what we would like to cut these down to. Right now, with a 4-inch square, I have 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. I'm going to trim these down to 3 1/2, and I should be able to get a really nice looking 3 1/2. That's what I like about block lock, is that you definitely need to make them larger, but that's just the thing. You make them a little larger, you're going to have some trimming that you have to do, unless you are just an amazing sewist and you can do the whole 7/8 thing and come out with the exact size that you need. That's a lot. So block lock right here has a wonderful groove in the center of their rulers that catches on the seam. So you put the words, the block lock, on the side without the bump. I pull it and it locks. See how it locks? So I want a 3 1/2-inch square. I want this to finish at 3 1/2. Here is my 3 1/2 mark here. Here's my 3 1/2 mark there. I'm going to be sure that I have fabric that comes past that. Can you guys see that, hopefully? Let's zoom in even more. Let's put you up here, right there. And we want to be sure that we have fabric, again, that comes past this. So here's 3.5, there's fabric on that side, 3.5, there's fabric on this side. And there's fabric on here to trim away, and there's fabric on there to trim away, and it's going to get rid of what we call dog ears. And this is nice and full down in the center right here. It's got that whole seam in there, because that's the whole point of this. So we are going to trim up the right, pull, trim down the top, and be sure we can pull that away. Now I'm going to take these two sides, let's zoom out just a touch. I'm going to put my hands on these two sides right here, and we're going to rotate. Then we're going to slide it down, because we've already cut this side right here. It's super smooth, super straight. Slide it down till we get to 3.5. All right. And it goes right to 3.5. We're going to zoom in again. So we're going to be sure to push up on that and lock it, and it's locked. We've got a nice full seam right here, and we're just going to take off this side here, pull it, this side here. Okay. And then the reveal of a beautiful half square triangle. Love these. They do so much. I'm going to do the other one, but I'm going to do it a little bit faster. Side with no bump. Block lock words. Pull it down. Lock it. There it is. A little bit more than 3.5. We're going to trim. Then we're going to rotate. Then we're going to pull down to 3.5. And we're going to do some micro adjustments here. And I think we've got it. Oh, my goodness. There we go. All right. With these, you can do so many different things, so many different blocks. It's just, your possibilities are really endless. Half square triangles are my jam. I get their importance. But I want to try something different. These are identical, but you can make triangles with them and whatnot, and then the angles and all the things. Let's try a half rectangle triangle. So squares are cool, but I think rectangles are going to be all the rage. And so here I have Block Lock. They make several different sizes because half rectangle triangles are different. You've got to be aware of which angle you're cutting your rectangle, and every angle is not the same. You see here, this is a wide one here, but these are skinny. Oh my goodness, they are so slim. They're so nice. These are an investment. They are not inexpensive, but I think that I'm really going to be able to get some use out of them. So let's explore half rectangle triangles. Okay, we are going to explore half rectangle triangles with the Block Lock. There are ways to do this without the Block Lock, but they are more difficult. And so I just want to show kind of the look and how cool it is. Now you see I have two sets here, because when you do this, you get an identical rectangle. You do not get the opposite, so that you can flip it around, but I'll show you in a second. So what I'm going to do, both sides facing up, pretty sides facing up. That's important. and I'm going to stack them one on top of the other, and I'm going to slice either to the right. You can see that this one has that groove that's going down to the right, and the B side has the groove going down and to the left. So depending upon what side you want is how you're going to slice it. If you want to do A, you're going to slice this way. If you want to do B, you're going to slice the other direction. You really want to try to hold on to this. I'm sure they have it on their website, but this is the pamphlet that comes with that, and it gives you the sizes that you need to cut, and then the sizes that it'll be finished, and that's going to be very, very important. You can certainly get the sizes in between. However, you might stumble into one that does not do exactly what you need it to do. I ran into that on the Oogie Boogie quilt. So if you just stick to these sizes, you will probably have much more success. There are ways to do it, but they're hard. So for the size that I'm going to do for this guy, which is the kind of thicker one here, I'm going to try to shoot for a finished 4x8. So I cut the rectangles right here to 5x10. And we will actually, it's going to be 4.5 by 8.5, unfinished. I know that sounds crazy, but we'll see it in just a second. So I stack these. I'm going to grab my ruler. I'm going to put this corner to corner and give it a slice. I'm just being sure that it's all nice and lined up before I do that. And it's cool. We're going to go corner to corner. And we're going to give it a slice. And now we have these that are all the same. And in order to sew them, we're going to take the big side and we're going to put it like this, but we're going to slide it down about 1/4 of an inch. About 1/4 of an inch hangover on either side. You can try to be exact about that if you'd like. Because these are so big, I might just drop a pin in for good measure. Just because this is a big guy. Oh, I need to get some sharper pins. Alright. And then we're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. The big side is going towards the little side. The big side is going towards the little side. And I am guesstimating. I am not being exact about this 1/4 inch. It looks about 1/4 of an inch away. And then I'll just toss a pin in for good measure. I figured since I was going to the sewing machine, I would just go ahead and do the same thing for this. Right sides are up. And we cut these. Just the same. Come on off of there. There we go. And now we can take this and put them right sides together and just offset them about 1/4 of an inch. And then when we go to the sewing machine, we can just sew them all together. So I've just finished sewing. We've got our identical pair there. I feel like there is a pin right here. We've got our identical pair there, and then we've got our other identical pair right here. I'm going to press again to the dark side. So I'm going to put the dark side facing up. We are going to open this guy. Actually, we're going to hit it with the iron first, just to smooth it out, and then we are going to open it and very gently press this guy. And we'll do the same thing with all of the rectangles. So now they have all been pressed, and this is what we are left with. We started off at what, 5 by 10? Now we have, it looks like 9 3/4 by about 4 3/4. Cool. It is time. We're not going to do the A block yet because that is where things get funky if you are right-handed. But the B block should be easy enough. So this I can tell is going the same angle as the B block. I'm going to take the word block lock and put it on the light side. And we have made this large enough to do the, what size did we say we were going to do? I forget, hold on. Yeah, we said we were going to do the whole ruler, which is 4.5 by 8.5. And that's right, they were cut down to 5 by 10. So I've got the block lock on the side that does not have a hump on it. And I am just going to move it down until I see fabric on either side of this. Now, I don't have a whole bunch. That's not true. I have enough to work with either way. So right here, I see that I have a good amount of fabric on either side. Let's scooch you up a bit. All right, it's locked in. It's nice and full. I have a little fabric on either side. Right there probably is going to be the best. All right, let's go for it. I'm going to shoot up the right. And then we're going to shoot across the top. Then we are going to rotate this. I've got both hands here, and I'm just going to slide it this way. And I'm going to be sure that it lines up perfectly, and it does. There's no movement necessary because we're using this whole ruler. And we are just going to slice up the right here and across the top. That actually didn't have too much waste. And then we have this, which is what we're looking for. It's like an eighth as opposed to a quarter. It's really weird. Half rectangles are strange. Let's do it again. Because we have two, you get two identical ones when you do this method. All right. I think this is a good place to trim. And there's barely anything to trim on this one. On that right side. Spin it around. Be sure that it's locked in, and it is. Trim up the right. And then we are going to trim across the top. And now we have two identical. So this is, you know, you can lay them like this and, you know, do the things with them, stack them. If you turn it this way, you've got a parallelogram kind of shape right there. If you turn them this way, you've got it going that way. You can do this. this way. You can put the blue next to this color. It's just, you know, whatever you want. Now let's see what happens when we add the other side, which is where my interest lies right now. Okay, since we're using the entire size of the ruler, it's not as tricky as it should be. But if you think about it, if this was smaller and you're right-handed, your first cut would need to be on the top and on this side here, and it gets funky. So I'm going to do another one showing you a size that's smaller, so this one's going to be the exact same. See, you're just going to cut up. The block lock has been placed on the lightest side, which doesn't have the seam. And we'll just cut here, no issues. Cut across the top, no issues. And then we'll just turn it this way. And we will line it up exactly on this left-hand side. And be sure it's locked, and it is. And then we'll just cut again. Not an issue. Not an issue at all. But what gets cool for me is the ability to get these triangles right here. This is what I'm after. Playing with isosceles triangles. I think they're super cool. I prefer mine to be a bit more slim, but I still think they are a really, really cool shape. And you can only do this if you have both sides, because as we saw before, with the two sides, you can get a parallelogram, but you cannot get this triangle right here. And yes, you can get it in the other colorway also. And you can do a bunch of stuff with this. This gets fun. Make your diamonds, that kind of thing. All right, let me grab another size so we can look at the difference. I just want to show you guys what happens if you put your ruler incorrectly. So we know that the block lock goes on the light side, but I had just put it on the blue side. Almost had a small heart attack. I was like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. How could I have done something? And there we go. And that's what we're looking for. This is what we need right here. So if it looks wrong, and don't freak out, you just have it turned around wrong. So for these long and skinny ones, I started off with a rectangle that was 3 by 9 just to get a 2.5 by 6.5. And I'm like, is that really necessary? It really is. To get it, it really is. I was like, my goodness, that seems like a lot of waste. And I really don't have a whole bunch of issues with that kind of stuff. However, for this, I can totally see why it has to be that long before I even get fabric on either side. It takes me a while. I'm pulling down quite a bit. And I think I will take my cut right here. So, like I said, the A is where it gets a little weird if you are right-handed, because the light block lock needs to go on the light side of the side without the seam. And if we put that here and we're trying to get more than 2.5, so I'm pulling it down, this is where I need to cut. You see, I need to cut over here and down here. And I am very much right-handed. I've seen people just do it. I absolutely cannot. Somebody would get hurt if I tried that. So in order for me to do this, I've got a few options. I can put it on a spinning mat, which I have, or we can make our first cut this direction. We could do this because I can cut. I feel comfortable cutting this way and this way. So I'm making sure that I have more than 2.5 this way, and I do. And I'm making sure that I have more than 6.5, and I certainly have plenty there. So I'm just gonna shuffle with it, play with it a little bit, just to be sure that I have fabric on this side so that I am actually squaring up. And we will work in a very weird fashion. Okay, and I did not get a clean cut here. There we are. Did I get it? I did. Now we need to turn it the other direction. And we need to put it right on the 2.5 by 6.5. So I've got 6.5 there. And I've got 2.5 right here. And everything looks good. And now I'm going to cut. So if you are right-handed, it is going to be a little funky, but you can still do it. Let's do it one more time. We know that the block lock is going to go on the side without the seam, the light side here. I'm going to put it there. I'm just going to look here. I'm going to slide it down until it locks really well, and I have fabric on either side of the 2.5 mark. And it looks like it's going to be, I'm looking down here and I'm running out of yellow fabric, so I want to be sure that it's more right here, and it is. 6.5 is right there, so I have fabric on this side, and on either side I have enough to do a little bit of the trimming. So we're just going to turn it, and we'll do our 2 cuts. More than 2.5, yes. Fabric on the other side, yes. And fabric more than 6.5, yes. And it's not, I'm not running out right here. So let's give it a cut. All right. Now we are going to pull it this way and put it directly on the 2.5 by 6.5. I'm directly on 2.5. I'm directly on 6.5. I've got a nice full amount here. We're going to cut with our right hand. And there we have it. All right, these are the ones that I was really after. I love an isosceles triangle. Oh, wrong one. That looks like this. Oh, I am just so into these right now. I cannot explain why, but I love them. Very excited about this shape. And of course we can do it in a different colorway. We can do it this way. We can every other. Oh look, we've got another triangle. Now we have opposites. We can do this. Lots of fun to be had here. I like them. I like them a lot. I'm going to sew a couple of these pairs together, and then we can look at them when they've been sewn. Nice. It's cute. I like it. And as you can see, we've got our 1/4 inch availability here so that when we sew something across the top, we don't have an issue. Let's grab one of these little guys here. I like to press these seams open. There's a lot of bulk right here at the tip. So I'm just going to open it up and we can be surprised together. See if I got it on the money. This is a wood pressing tool that I like to use to open up my seams. It's lovely. Just opens them up nice and easy. There we go. And that way I can come through with my iron, just turned around right now. And just hold it, give it a good press, and see what we got. It's cute. Oh, I just love this. So cool. Love the shape. Just love it, love it, love it. So hopefully you have enjoyed our adventure with half rectangle triangles and what we can do with them. I'm excited. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye-bye. So I have just started using EQ8, and when I say just started, I mean just started. So bear with me, but I do want to show you all the kinds of things you can do with these half rectangle triangles. They can be kind of interesting. So I'm just going to change this to a grid. I'm going to go on ahead and leave these borders on. We'll see what happens. Let's design this a little bit. Let's take this guy and drop him right here. And let's change the colors so that they reflect what we were doing with the blue and green, just for funsies, not because this is really what we would be doing or using, or these colors look gorgeous together. I mean, to somebody they might, which is so fine with me. But we are just going to use them for fun. Now let's see what happens. Yeah, okay, we can save you, that's fine. Okay, now let's go here. Oh, maybe we should throw a border since we've thrown this border on. Let's throw it in this color, even though I don't know that that is gonna be gorge, but we'll just do it just to do it. Now we're going to go to our block tools and we are going to grab this block and we're going to drop it in everything. Okay, this is interesting to me by itself. It might be a little on the busy side for some people, but just imagine if you did this with some prints, a layer cake, or something along those lines. This could be really cool for a first quilt, for a quick bed quilt. I'm just trying to jog some imagination and maybe some inspiration here. So I'm going to grab the symmetry tool, and this is just the bare minimum of what can happen. So I hit it, and now we've got these windmills. And now they're kind of cool because they're not your traditional half square triangle windmills. Now there are a million patterns for half square rectangles. I mean a million. You can just twist and turn them any kind of way. This right here is gorgeous to me. I love this. This is probably what I'm looking for, are these diamond shapes. You know that I could do a quilt that looks just like this in black and white and be just as happy as I could be. This is stunning. This can be done with a solid and a print, and that could look really cool because you could have these very dynamic diamonds here. I mean, just the possibilities are endless. So now we are to the opposite of that same windmill where there was blue here, now there's green here. Now we have the opposite of the diamonds. Now we have this chevron. You guys know that I am not a lover of chevrons. However, when you turn them on the side like that, they're kind of interesting. Here's another kind of zipper. And I mean, don't just think in what you see here. Like imagine playing with these colors. If this were a different color than this and kind of what you can get and the designs. Yes, I could do all that, but this video is already an hour long and I'm sure you guys are tired of me by now. But I just see so many. Look at this. You guys know I love stripes. Look at that. I could get perfect stripes coming through. We could play with prints. We can play with areas that we use different colors in. There's just, or we can stripe it this way, or I could do half one way and half the other way. There are just so many different things that you can do. Look, now we got a traditional chevron. Now we've got the zippers going this way. You guys think of these just like you would half square triangles. If we wanted to get funky, and I don't know that we really do, but let's just, for funsies, let's go on ahead and add a plain block. We'll just drop you right in. Oh, that is not what we wanted to do. Let's drop you in right here. There we go. Now we've got something a little different. That's kind of cool. And it was just a subtle shift, but it makes a difference. Think about these in different colors and prints and the shapes that you want to show up and show out. And this is all symmetrical stuff, and your stuff does not have to be like this. You can put this in one area and turn them a different way and get something different. But I'm hoping that this jogs something in everybody and just makes you see that these half rectangle triangles can be kind of interesting. I like them. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. If you haven't done so already, please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you would ever try a half rectangle triangle. Tell me if you saw something that you think is kind of neat and you'd like to venture out. You don't need a pattern for this. You know, you can just play. Throw them all out on your bed like I do and just rearrange them until your heart is content. If you guys made it through the end of this video, you guys are real ones because this was a long one, but I enjoyed making it for you. I hope that I inspired you to try something new and that you learned something from this video. Again, leave me lots of comments in the comment bar, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay, bye-bye.